My name is Andrea, and this is Dessert First for all of our new subscribers. I know I haven't been on very much lately. Life's just really busy right now, but I didn't want the holidays to get past us without popping on and showing you a few easy recipes for the holidays. So I'm going to start with basically it's just a apple spice dump cake, something super simple. So if you are new to baking and are hesitant to dive into, you know, a pie or something like that, this is something that's super easy for you to do. You can have it done pretty quick. If you have a lot on your plate and you've got everything to make and hosting, then this could be something that's just gets that dessert done fast, and you can move on to everything else that you're preparing for the day. So I've already got my oven preheated to 350 degrees because this goes together so quick. You really need your oven already going before you start putting it together. All right, so I'm going to adjust this so you can see what I'm doing. So first up, I've got just a big baking dish. Now normally I would use like a 9 by 13 size, which is just kind of your traditional standard baking dish or cake pan size, but mine are all going to be used with other things. So I'm going to use this one. This is actually like a 10 by 15, so it's a little bit bigger. So you might want to do 3 cans of apple pie filling. I only got 2 because I didn't know what size pan I was going to be using when I went to the grocery store. So, and then I'm going to make just a little tiny ramekin, just so you can kind of see it when it's done. I'm taking the big one to a work party here in just a little bit. So we're going to start off with 2 cans of apple pie filling, and this is 21 ounces. And typically in a dump cake you would just dump it right into the pan, but these apples are not seasoned, so it's just plain apples, and I like a little bit of spice in my apples. So we're going to just dump this into a bowl here so we can mix it up. And make sure you use a spatula so that you can get everything out of that can. So you don't want to leave, it's so thick and sticky that you're going to leave a lot in the can if you're just dumping it in. So make sure you get all of that out of there. So I did just a little bit of a taste, and this isn't too sweet. So what we want to do, just in a separate little bowl here, is just add a little bit of sugar. So I'm probably going to go with maybe 2 tablespoons. And I'm not really using the sugar to sweeten this. I'm using the sugar as more of a carrier for the cinnamon. If you just took the cinnamon and dumped it in there, because it's such a fine powder, it would just kind of stick in one spot. So we're going to mix this up. So I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons. So there's a little bit more than 2 teaspoons. So I usually, when I mix cinnamon and sugar together, I go by the way it looks. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay. So then we're just going to sprinkle this in. Just going to sprinkle a little bit, and then I'm just going to give it a mix. You could also add some nutmeg if you wanted some nutmeg in it. I'm going to skip the nutmeg today. And then we're just going to sprinkle the rest. There we go. Okay. And see, that is so much easier to mix in when it's not just a clump of cinnamon. There we go. Okay. Now, so now we're just going to get our pan prepared. And I've got 2 sticks of butter, and I've gone ahead and cut them. So basically what I did is for every tablespoon I cut it in half. So they're cut in about half tablespoon portions, or what I would call a pat of butter. So I'm just going to put 1 in my little sample dish, and then we're just going to lay these out. So now we're just going to take our apple pie filling, and we're just going to dump this in. And scrape out your bowl. Because with this pan, you're going to need every bit of it. So. Alright. And then I'm just going to kind of just push this. This will make just fine with just the 2 cans, but if you want a little more substance, I would, for this size pan, I'd definitely go for 3. But if you're just using a 9x13, then the 2 will be just fine. Okay. Oh, and you know what I didn't do? My little sample piece. Little sample. I'm just going to do, pull out. Oops. We'll just pull out 2 there, and maybe just a tiny bit. Okay. Alright, so for this, we're going to use, actually use a spice cake mix. So it's already got cinnamon and some other spices already in it, so it'll kind of add a little more flavor. So I'm gonna dip out about a tablespoon, put over that, and then we're just going to cover. Try to get it even, because it's so much harder to spread around once it's all, because it kind of sticks to the apples. So. Just a tiny bit. Let's see. It smells really good. It's not overly spicy, so. Okay. And I'm just going to, a few of these that are kind of clumpy, just kind of, there we go. Okay, so for the other stick of butter, we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to lay them out. So this is done, and it's ready to go into the oven. It's preheated at 350 degrees, and then I'm going to bake this for, I'm going to check it around the 35-40 minute mark, but it's probably going to go to 45 or 50 minutes, but it really just depends on how it looks. So, so I'll be back in a little bit to show you the finished product. All right, so our apple spice stump cake baked for about an hour. So it really just is going to depend on how you want it to look. So I wanted it to have some darker spots. You can see where the butter missed just a couple of spots, but at least it's just a tiny, tiny bit. So once somebody dips into it, it's going to get mixed in, but it's already starting to kind of set up. So once this cools, this is going to kind of crust over, so it'll be decent. So this is still pretty warm, but the little one I took out earlier. Obviously it didn't take nearly as long, but let's see how it tastes. And this would be great with ice cream. That's really good. It gets that apple, like an apple pie, but then a little bit of that, like an apple cake kind of feel. So serve this slightly warm. This is something you could, if you're getting ready for Thanksgiving lunch or dinner, once you're ready and have everything pulled out of your oven, you can throw this together, pop it in the oven, and let it be cooking while you're having dinner, and then pull it out, because you're usually going to wait just a little bit before you have dessert, or at least we do, because we eat way too much and then we're too full for dessert for a little while. And then it'll be cooled off enough that everyone can have some warm apple dessert, maybe a scoop of ice cream or a little bit of cool topping or something like that with it. So, but you don't need either one, but I look for every excuse to add a little bit of vanilla ice cream. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like it, feel free to share it. So happy holidays.